Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Afreilichen Tu B'Shvat. Today's breakfast is sponsored by Yisrael Shalitsky L'Zeichen Nishmas, my grandparents, Zchut Yogan Aleinu, by Gil Harris, for my friends in the room, by Anonymous. Then nobody should be able to thank me. L'Zchut Shidduchim Tovim, for Klal Yisrael. Amen. Anonymous is L'Choira. I'm just going to guess Rabbi Einhorn. Stop being anonymous. Donnie Fine, in honor of Shraga Fine and Baruch Pearl's birthdays. I shouldn't say that. Maybe there's another anonymous, and I just ruined it for that anonymous. So, I'm not going to read the emails because this is the third time this week that I woke up late. There's something going on. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. I still have lines on my face from just getting up. But I do want to say, I'll do the sponsorships and everything afterwards, Be'ez Hashem. We had a tremendous simcha last night in the room. The guy, you all know him, he was the party planner of the Siyum, the last Siyum, Binyamin Bornstein. He got engaged to the guy that was in an accident sister. The girl, remember Shuki, he was in an accident with a deer in Radin. He owns the hotel, so he's part of the shir. So he made a shidduch with his own sister. It was an unbelievable shidduch. It's because Binyamin was already, in advancing age. He's 30, in his 30. Huh? Oh, I have here. Here's the what? I didn't say Lili Nishmas? Lili Nishmas, Imi, Merosi, Rus Bas Mordechai. So today is a tremendous day. We are going to have shir tonight in Bnei Brak, Motzei Tu B'Shvat. Moshe Cohn from Chazdei Naomi, he owns a hall there called Armanot Chain, and he did everything from A to Z. He's giving us the hall. He did all the advertisement. We're hoping and looking forward to close to 1,500 people. That's what he was saying, 1,500. Yesterday I was on the radio, 3 different stations. We had Menachem Toker, Yehudi Dickman, and I think his name is Ari Bloom. I already forgot the third one. But it was a wild day yesterday, talking to all these guys and talking about the Tu B'Shvat program and the shir in general. So if you're here in Eretz Yisrael, you might want to stop by and check it out. It's going to be an amazing event. We have here an email from a Modax Yid. He calls himself Modax. First time daffer, just wanted to share some of my thoughts and appreciation of the program. I think one of the things that makes this program so amazing is that it takes away a lot of the shame. He focuses on the shame over here. Focus on Yomi, not the daf. I know that it was backwards. I can be focusing 1 day and a half, listening another, I don't know. Okay, 1 day he's focusing, the other half not. That's okay. It's about the Yomi. And there are others like me. There's a community, a sense of belonging, the mishpacha. I don't feel ashamed because I feel like I'm amongst people who are like me and accept me for where I'm at, wherever that happens to be. I'm Modax, by the way, so minority, I think in MDY, but still feel the kesher. I don't know. There are a lot of Modax in MDY, and it's Givaldic, it's part of MDY. I don't know if it's a minority. As a side note, I think the Modax community would greatly benefit from MDY Daf Yomi. It feels a need that it desperately needs. I try my best to recruit my friends to the program. Please leave this anonymous if read. This guy in Hebrew, he says, he happened to watch a few of the shiurim, just a few, but he doesn't like the shir very much because there's a lot of Bittul Torah, and Bittul Torah is mamish aser. And Mamela, he thinks he's going to go to another shir. It's another volume. We lost a good one. Okay, and here, this is what I was talking about yesterday when you eat strawberries. So here's a nice video by Chaim Adler. When the Hechsher writes, Roy Livdok Mitolayim, it's advisable to check before eating. It is a reality. Dry fruit that is either poor quality or improperly stored can become infested. Always be safe. Look before you eat. Check out this video. I don't know if you can see the little crawler on it, but it's Givaldic. Oh, somebody put the circle. One of our guys did. I guess Kobe. That's very cool. Very nice. Okay. So that's why you're supposed to wash strawberries. Now, there's a video that just came out from Rosh Weiss who says you don't have to soak it in soap. He says, if you can't really see it, but this is visible to the naked eye. But he says that maybe soap is dangerous and you should just wash it very well and cut the top part off. That's his psak. Others say differently. This is from Mati Kas. He says he was 5 years in Mashgiach, and these are pictures that he took of cashews. I spoke about cashews. I saw this with my own eyes. And he writes, Beta'avon. Gewaldig. And this came out, the Tu B'Shvat guide. So they're saying that these kind of fruit, raisins, apricots, got to be really careful. Olives, rinse well. Grapes. We had here once when I did the thing with grapes and I stomped on them. So later on we went to the kitchen and many of them had real giant worms crawling over. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that. Not recommended fruit from the Star K. Dried, I don't know what these are, berries, blackberries, raspberries, and golden raisins are not recommended. B'chalal. Pineapples is one thing. All right. This week in Lakewood, Motzei Shabbos, Parshas Yisro, join us for Watch the Shir Get Together in Lakewood. Where is this? 111th Street, Lakewood, New Jersey. Attendance is free. RSVP. Come join us. Yossi Sinner. And Rabbi Isai. Hold that. The Masechta is sponsored, dedicated memory of Mr. Sidney Gross of Pittsburgh on his 26th yahrzeit. The Masechta is sponsored for Atzlacha Baruch and Begashmiyos. Masechta is sponsored by Larry Cohn in memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim, who started learning Daf Yomi at age 70 and continued for 32 years until he was nifter. Masechta is sponsored for the unity of the Jewish people. Masechta is sponsored by Glenn Esterson with love and gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Parnasa Chodesh. Leah Zchurya ben Moshe. Hold that. Leah Zchurya bas Yosef. Parnasa Chodesh. Zchut. Parnasa Birevach for Baruch, Tzvi, Nissim, Ben Shoshana, Leah. Parnasa Chodesh with הכרת Torah from Anonymous. Parnasa Chodesh. Shprintzy Alan Gross. Shlomi Zalman ben Yitzchak Isaac Zchurya Levrach and B'yom Isaac ben Tzvi Hirsch Cohn Zchurya Levrach, the yahrzeit of our fathers. And Refuah Shleima to Yonasan Eitan ben Basheva Bracha. Today Alan Gross came to this year. He came from Yerushalayim, Idam Vesikin, drove in, and this is what he's been doing for the last 5 days or so. Leah Welcher, thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the speedy release, not the speedy release, for the release of Ari Rosenfeld, Aaron Ben Hinda, Esther Gittel, who's a big part of MDY, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give him Refuah HaNefesh and Guf. Koil month, sponsored by HYK Ventures. I'm not going to say because Mrs. Kamyansky doesn't like when I say Hillel Yosef Kamyansky, so I'm not going to say that today. Ventures in honor and for the success of all our clients.
Amen.
Parnasa Yoim, we only have 8. Moshe Aaron Ben Rachel, Miriam Bas Yocheved. Moshe Aaron Ben Rachel and Miriam Bas Yocheved. Vakina Veshins LLC as a schos for Esther Bas Toba Liba, Daniel Mordechai Ben Toba Liba, Yeshua Zeb Ben Toba Liba, and all clients will to find and keep their zivug quickly. Parnasa Yoim, Yitzchak Yaakov Simkowitz, in memory of my father, the day of his 13th yahrzeit, Chaim Ben Moshe Elimelech, and by Yaakov Schreiber in the Zchut to pass my licensing test and thanking Hashem in advance. Amen.
Amen.
By Abba Rennert, L'chvoid Rebelli Shlita, Yirotzayin, Shekol Netiyo, Shenoitimcha, Yuka Moischa, on Tu B'Shvat, Yishkoyach, Abba Rennert, in honor of Chuck Yeager, on his birthday today, by Avi Mandelbaum's parents. Avi Mandelbaum used to talk a lot about Chuck Yeager. Avi Mandelbaum is a Zchurya Levrach. I guess his parents, in memory of him, through the sin, Yisher Koyach is the Shama should have an Aliyah.
Amen.
I'm talking about Avi Mandelbaum's. The Parnasa Yoim, B'schus, Simcha, B'atzlacha, Yoel Yudo Ben Dvoira, Velisheva Miriam Bas Chana. Yoel Yudo Ben Dvoira, Velisheva Miriam Bas Chana. By Mordechai Zabazik Lekove Tu B'Shvat, may all of Klal Yisrael have a fruitful, healthy, simchadik year. Amen. Including you, Mordechai, shall find the zivug bekarov.
Amen.
Art of the month for Zchus for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. And art of the month in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi Sai, here we are. Gewaldik Daf. We are holding on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis like 10 lines from the bottom, 9 lines from the bottom. Rabbi Yochanan says that a ben noyach, there's one difference between whether a ben noyach is with a Jew and gets the punishment of the Jew, and and not. There's only one case. Because typically Ben Noach gets punished for being over in arayos. But there's one case where he wouldn't get punished for this particular arayos. They don't have it in their book. And because he was over this thing with a Jew, he gets the misa of the Jew and not of the Ben Noach. What is that? That's a person that has relations with a naira amurasa. And a naira amurasa gets skila. Typically speaking, a Ben Noach gets sayev. We'll see there's a shita that they always get chenek, but they don't get skila. Skila is not in the books, but because he's having relationships with a Jewish woman, and the punishment for the Jew is skila, so he gets skila because it's not even in their book. It's not even asur for them. Their isser only starts bu'las baal. That's where their isser starts. Erusin, there's no isser. Tanya Kabasei de Rabbi Yochanan. Kol erva shebezin shel Yisrael mimsim aleha benoach muzar leah. So we really need to remember this line. This is Reb Meir, and the Gemara is going to bring a contradiction to this Reb Meir. And when the Gemara is going to say that this goes according to Reb Kiva, the next one goes according to Reb Eliezer, but it's a good contradiction. That what? The rule is, according to Reb Meir, anytime a Jewish person dies in Bezdin, benoach muzar leah. Kol erva shebezdin sheYisrael mimsim aleha benoach muzar leah. Here is a good question. What happens? A Ben Noach and his own sister. Does he get the death penalty or not? The answer is, according to this line, no. Why? Because a Jew doesn't die in Bezdin because of it. A Jew gets kares for that. You don't die in Bezdin. So Memela, a Ben Noach doesn't die. Kol erva shebezdin sheYisrael mimsim aleha benoach muzar leah. Ein bezdin sheYisrael mimsim aleha, ein benoach muzar leah divrei Rebbe Meir. So, to see that, just to get used to this chart, this is the Rebbe Meir that we just said. The Ben Noach is also in arayos when there's a misa of bezin. So, let's say his own sister, he doesn't die. Let's say his mother-in-law, his father's wife, you do die. Why? Because a mother-in-law is something that a Jew dies for in bezin. If something, Eishes Aviv, your father's wife, Bezdin kills you. So then he also dies. The other ones, something that you get kares for, Ben Noach doesn't get misa for that. It's not true. There are many types of arayos that a Yisrael doesn't die in Bezdin, and they learn it from the ish that we had yesterday. They argue. Baal arayos Yisrael, neither Medina Yisrael. Let's say he was with Eshes Ish, a Yisraelis, a Jew. He gets the halachas of the Jew, which we said before. What is that? There's only one case. Naira Murasa. Baal arayos ben Noach. But if he had relations with another Noachnik, neither Medina Noach, then he gets the punishment of a Noach. Vein, vanu ein lanu ella, naira murasa b'vad. So this is a raya to Rabbi Yochanan. Tanya Kavasei de Rabbi Yochanan, and this is exactly what Rabbi Yochanan said, that we have a case of naira murasa that doesn't apply at all to a non-Yid. And if he went ahead and he was over with a naira murasa Jew, this guy gets skila like a Jew. As the Gemara v'loy. Let's talk about another case. A woman who just had a chuppah, but was never with her husband. The halacha is that a Ben Noach should get chenek and not sayif, because they don't have a halacha of nichas chuppah. Their whole halacha is bulas baal. Says Gemara, Haytana Tana de Beimnashu, you're right. Should get the halacha of a Jew. But the Omar, Kol Misa Amur Levnei Noach and Chenek. The reason why this Ben Noach doesn't get sayif and he gets chenek like a Jew, it's anyways he gets chenek. Every Ben Noach gets chenek. There's no such thing as sayif according to Beit Menashe. Every Ben Noach gets chenek. So Mela, there's no nafkamina. You want to chop a nafkamina where, typically speaking, Ben Noach should get this, and now he gets that. That only happens by Naira Murasa. V'sover Meir, ask the Gemara, V'sover Meir, Kol Erev Shebezin Shel Yisrael Mimsim Aleh Ben Noach Muzar Aleh. Is that true? So now we're going to go through a bunch of Geshmaki cases, but there's only really two cases that we're looking for. We're looking for Achoisoi. We're looking for what's the halacha by a sister. Over here in this Remeir we see that a sister loy nerag, the third line, the middle line, where it says two. Two, achoisim aim, loy nerag. Over here we're going to see achoisim and aim, nerag. That's contradiction number one. Then we're going to see halacha of three. The chamoisai, a mother-in-law by us, we just said nerag, and over here Remeir is going to say loy nerag. Contradiction. What do we do? But to get there, we have to go through a very interesting halacha. There was a woman, a non-Jew, who was pregnant. So Mela, her pregnancy was shaloi b'kedusha. Without kedusha, in other words, her pregnancy, she was a goy when she was pregnant. And she gave birth when she was a giyaris. So her kid comes out into this world as a Jew. Shocking, he's allowed to marry his relatives from his father's side, including sisters from his father, but no one from his mother's side. We don't want people to say that Yiddishkeit is less severe than non-Yiddishkeit. Things that he was osir when he was a guy should be mutter to him when he's a Yid. That doesn't make sense. So maybe we made a gzera, and anything that was osir when he was a guy is osir now. Okay, Sad. Give an example. Nasa achoisai minoaim yoitzi. So this is question number one. Again, if you look at Remeir again, achoisai minoaim loy nerag. Why? Remeir in the first bride said to Yisod, anything that a Jew is not killed in Bezdin, you don't kill the guy. You don't kill the Ben Noach. This is something that you don't kill a Jew for. You let HaKadosh Baruch Hu deal with him. You give him karas. He gets karas. So he does not get killed in Bezdin. So how come over here, Remeir says, Yoitzi, what do we care? He's a, yeah? If he was a non-Jew, it would be okay. There's nothing to worry about. Yoitzi, why does he have to divorce her?
She's Jewish.
What? Oh. No, he was born a Jew, but he's a ger. Now she was born beforehand. Let me show you what happened there. Well, I'll show you. Here. We have it. This is the timeline. A mother had a daughter while they were goyim. Yeah, so that's his older sister. And then they became gerim together, the mother and the daughter. And she was already pregnant at that point. You see, in the Sabra Aim, she was pregnant all the way on the right. And then the ger was born. So if the ger goes ahead and he marries the sister, it's not really a sister, because Gershon is Gayer, he doesn't have a relationship with her, be'emes, and yeah, no, but Hayrasa Shalei B'Kedusha. She's a Giyaris. And her sister's a Giyaris. There's no Shaykhs. They have zero relationship be'emes. Yoitzi. Mina'av Yikaim. So hold on, let me just show you the cases real quickly. This is Achoisim Aim. Achoisim Aim means that just also pay attention to the characters. Each character is funnier than the other. Here's a ger, and the ger has a father and a mother, but he has a sister that they only share a mother. They don't share a father. They have different fathers here. There's two fathers on top. So this is Achoisim Aim. This is a big no-no, you said. Although, according to the first Remeir, it shouldn't be a problem, because you don't die in a Jewish court. Achoisim Av means the same exact thing, just the opposite. He's a ger, as a father, he shares a sister, but only with the same father. This one he's allowed to stay married to. Minoav Yikayim. Oh, and now we're going with a different category. Now we're talking about ants. Achoisa Av. Minoaim. What's that? So here's the mother. We're not even talking about a mother of the ger. We're talking only about the father's side. The father has a sister. What do we call that in English? An aunt. So it's an aunt, but this aunt, pay attention, this aunt only shares a mother with the father. They're not pure sister and brother. It's not a pure aunt. They share one parent. You see, they don't have yarmulkes, the mamish. Einam Yehudim, noy revayim. Again, when there's a maternal relationship, any relationship that has a mother involved, almost everything, but if the same thing happened and it's mino'av, it's an aunt, it's his father's sister, but they share one father, not a mother. Shmak, potato heads with all good stuff. Yeah? Because the relationship from the mother's side is what we care about, not the father's side. Oh, even, that's what's interesting. That even though it's from the father's side, it has nothing to do with the mother's on the left. It's from the father's side, but there's a mother involved there. These are all gzeros. People get confused. Same thing, just on the mother's side. You see, now we're talking about a mother. The mother's sister, an aunt, but from your mother's side. And they share the same mother, like on top, they have one mother. Yaitzi. He can't marry her. Achoy is aunt. This ger cannot marry his aunt. That's an aunt that's his mother's sister that share the same mother, but if they share the same father, mino'av, Meir oimer yoitzi. Why yoitzi? Again, this is a gzeira that people shouldn't make a mistake and think that other arayis are mutter. Okay, we're not asking the question from here. Anything that's related through the mother, you have to get rid of. Mishum she'erav, this ger. If it's only related through the father, yikayim. Here's the problem. One problem we said. There's another problem. Umutar be'eshes achiv. Eshes achiv. If the ger has a brother and the brother is married, a sister-in-law, he's allowed to marry her. After his brother dies, obviously, otherwise she's eshes ish. Umutar be'eshes achiv. Ube'eshes achi aviv. Here, eshes achi aviv. Right, it's an aunt who married to his uncle, his father's brother. But this is problematic. This case right over here, Eshes Achiv, which we said in Furish before, over here it says mutter, and the first Rameir says you get the death penalty for that. So here, Eshes, no, do we say Eshes Achiv? No, sorry. Ignore that. Eshes Achiv. Fine. So what do we have so far? Other arayis mutter. Oh, this is the problem. La'asuye eshes aviv. Eshes aviv mutter loy. Comes to include eshes aviv. His own father's wife is mutter to him. And then if we go to the first Rameir, we'll see Mefurish that we said in 3, the last line on the bottom. Mother-in-law, you die for. Eshes aviv, your father's wife, you die. Why? Just to remember, it's not hard to remember. Anything that a Jew dies for, a goy dies for, a Bnei dies for. So Mela says, Remeir, the wife of a father, a Jew dies for. So Mela, so does a Bnei. And what do we just say now? First of all, we said that a sister is also divorce her, get rid of her, she's also, you'll die for her because the Bnei dies. And we just said that a mother-in-law, And this moment we said, Eishes Aviv, the father's wife, is mutter. It says here, let's read it. Mutter, v'shakal arais, mutar isloi, lasui, to include Eishes Aviv. So we have a massive contradiction between Remeir and Remeir. Nasa isho obita, koines achas, umoitzi achas. If a guy, a kusi, marries a mother and a daughter, a benoyach is okay with that. And he married her, and then all three of them became gerim together. So the halacha is, koines achas umoitzi achas. You should only marry one out of the two. You should pick and choose. All these women that we spoke about, the whole list, they should marry them. L'chatchila. Why? Because maybe even in this case, the marshal, if he marries his mother-in-law, and marries the daughter, he might come to think that you let him marry a mother and a daughter. Meisa ishtoi, mutar b'chamoisai. If he marries the daughter of this, he was married to two women, a daughter and a mother-in-law. So this is the case of machzer chamoisai. Everybody's nightmare. You could remarry your mother-in-law if you're a ger and you were married to her before, and you married her and her daughter, and the daughter dies, you're allowed to remarry chamoisai. Why? First of all, the mother-in-law and the daughter are not related halachically. Oh no, that because of the xeris. Typically we have a xera like that, but the combination that she's not alive now, and a benoyach is a mutter in his mother-in-law. He's not. Yeah. So Mela, we don't have an issue here. Some say that mother-in-law is still aser. Alkoponim, we have a contradiction in Remeir. On the one hand, he says that Achoisa, his own mother, is mutter. And over here in this brayso, we just learned that Achoisa is aser, you die. And then on the flip side, we said that a mother-in-law and the father and the wife of the father is you die, a benoyach. And now we just said that a mother-in-law and the father's wife, you don't die. So the answer is that Rebbe Meir was a Talmud of two people. Of who? Of Rebbe Kiva and Rebbe Eliezer. One brayso goes according to Rebbe Kiva. The first brayso, the one on the right, goes according to Rebbe Kiva. The second brayso goes according to Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Kiva holds this idea that any time a Jew dies in Bezdin, a Benoyach dies in Bezdin. Rebbe Eliezer doesn't hold to that. Omer Rav Yudah leikashia, Rebbe Meir alib the Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Meir alib the Rebbe Kiva. You're right. It's a massive contradiction. But one time Rebbe Meir is quoting his Rebbe Kiva, and the other time he's quoting Rebbe Eliezer. The Sanya, Alken Yazav Ishus Aviv Es Imoi. So the famous pasuk, here we have it over here. And we're going to be learning from every word. But what's important to us is only the first two words. What do you learn from Aviv and what do you learn from Imoi? So Rebbe Kiva learns from Aviv, it means his father's wife. And when it comes to mother, he says it means his mother, literally his mother. He shouldn't have relations with his mother. So in other words, what is Rebbe Kiva saying? Rebbe Kiva is saying that this is a pasuk to Ben Noach. Yeah, this is in time before Matan Torah. HaKadosh Baruch says, "Alkein yazav ish esav v'sima v'davak v'ishtoi v'hayu lebasar echad." Very interesting. Typically speaking, v'hayu lebasar echad. You think to yourself, it means one thing. V'hayu lebasar. What is v'hayu lebasar echad? Husband and wife should be one basar. How does a husband and wife become one basar? Huh? Right. Says Mr. Anonymous. What? I know you're involved. I saw you taking the money. I saw everything and I didn't see your name. So what are you telling me it's not you?
There's anonymous in the room.
There's an anonymous in the room. So you're even not anonymous. You're before anonymous. You're not even on the list of anonymous.
We'll put my name next time.
Okay. Gewaltig. So, says Mr. Anonymous, who I wasn't speaking to, Moiridik. How does a husband and wife become one when they have a child? The child is 50% him, 50% her. They just became one. That's how you become one. But before that, let's just talk about the first two words of the pasuk, then we'll get to that. The Gemara talks about that. Aviv means, according to Rebbe Kiva, Isser, that Yisrael gets Misa, so Bnei also gets Misa. Imai, Yisrael gets Misa, the Bnei gets Misa. Akein Azavishis Aviv es Imai, Rebbe Lezer Oimer, Aviv, Achois Aviv. Now check this out. You take the same Aviv, and Rebbe Lezer says something completely different. Rebbe Lezer matches up with the second Brisa. Rebbe Lezer says Achois Aviv doesn't mean Eishes Aviv like it means the sister of the father. And Imai doesn't mean his mother Mamish, it means the sister of. So Rebbe Lezer is very consistent. Both of them are sisters. Both of them are aunts. One is the aunt on the father's side, and one is the aunt from the mother's side. That's already something else. Rebbe Lezer Oimer Aviv Achois Aviv Imai Achois Imai. Yiva Oimer Aviv Eishes Aviv Imai Mamish. And Mela, that's how these two brises line up. One with Rebbe Kiva, the one on the right goes with Rebbe Kiva, and the other one goes according to Rebbe Lezer. It doesn't have to do with Misa's Bezdin. V'davak. What does v'davak mean? V'loi bezachar. So over here Rashi says a fascinating thing. Says Rashi, v'davak v'loi bezachar. The leked dibuk, the metoch she'ein hanishkav nehena, the receiver doesn't have anah, einoi nidbak imoi. In order to have a connection, a glue, a connection, then you have to have anah. You have anah from your children. I wanted to say that when you have anah from Torah, that gives you dveikus in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you become dovek in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Rebbe Nachman then the fence told me, I was mechav into, I don't remember. Huh?
The Hakdam of the Eglei Tali said.
Maybe he said Eglei Tal Taka. He said one of those names. Yeah? And he brings this Gemara. I think he did say Eglei. No. I have a very bad memory, and he heard me saying this to my chavrusa, and he screamed out. It was right before Mincha. He said, screamed out. He said, he might have said, I think he said Eglei Tal. I think you're right. Yeah, it sounds right. Eglei Tal. He's once in a while, he like in a millisecond. Okay, like you. He's also, I think, in the honors class. We're going here. Let's go back to this pasuk so we see it.
I'll say that people are going to say that since you get hana from learning, learn the Shema. So he says that is the Lishma.
Wow. I hope you heard him. If not, the Eglei Tal says that you'd say that maybe you don't get awarded for learning Torah because it's so gishmak. He says, no, that gufa is what Torah is. That's the lishma. It's not considered lishma. He says, no, when you learn Torah and you love it so much, then you davik in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the point of it. The more you give, the more you davik. Bishtoi v'loi beishes chaveroi. Here we are, on top. V'loi beishes ish. V'hayu lebasar echad, mishenasim basar echad. Human beings have a child together, so they become one. Yatsu behema v'chaya shenasim basar echad, and a behema and a chaya cannot have a child from a human being, and memela you cannot be one with them, and memela a guy cannot marry. This is all for the guy cannot marry an animal. So Rebbe Menachem Mendel Fencer asked me. He said, in the Gemara in Bechayres, Daf Tes says that there's an animal that's a water aquatic animal. It's called a dolphinon, like a dolphin. It has the same lashon as a dolphin, very good. Which could have, if it mates with a human being, it has a baby from a human being. So could the non-Jew marry a dolphin? According to this, the only reason they're not allowed to marry is because they can't have a kid. They could. David doesn't like the kasha. What do you say?
They're called the sirenot.
Sirenot?
Yeah. The mermaids, the sing and the
Yeah. No, mermaids are in Gemara. That part we had in the Gemara because they have dolphin. That's why they call dolphins today. Okay.
Didn't do it on porpoise.
There's porpoise. I heard a Maisa Shahaya. Again, I'm not condoning it. I don't know. I'm not a Rav, but this something like this. We probably all know somebody in the room, or somebody out of the room, but everybody in the room probably knows somebody like this. There was a couple that I know that they get married, and the mother-in-law was being a real mother-in-law. She kept on telling the daughter that the guy's not good, and maybe she should get divorced, and maybe this, and maybe you should take a little break from him, and you deserve much better. You know, a real mother-in-law. So the guy goes to the Rav, and he says, what should I do? So Rav says, I'll tell you what you do. Take your stuff, pick up, leave for 10 years, and don't say one word to her. And he listened to him. He got up. So she calls up, she says, the Rav said, I can't talk to you for 10 years. I can't talk, you can't see them, nothing. 10 years. You're going to ruin my marriage, you're going to get involved in the Shalom Bayis, see you later. 10 years. I'm not saying that this is a thing, but some people said, I wish I had that Rav. But V'hoyu l'basar echad is a halacha of a husband and a wife, and sometimes when other people get involved, you have to take drastic measures. I don't know what, but drastic measures. This is mamish drastic. Omar Mar. Rebbe Lazar Oimer. Aviv. Achois Aviv. So we're talking about Rebbe Lazar now. If you look on the chart, Aviv and Imoi, Rebbe Lazar Darshan's not the father's sister. You're not allowed to marry a father's sister. If you're Ben Noach, you're not allowed to marry a mother's sister. As the Gemara, Eim Aviv Mamish, maybe it means you shouldn't have relations with the father himself. So the Gemara, Hainu v'davak v'lei b'zachar. That's already the Isra in the same pasuk talks about a zachar. Maybe it's coming to say, I'm married like Rebbe Kiva says, it's the wife of the father. Hainu be'ishtoi. The pasuk already talks about Eishes ish. V'lei be'ishes chavera. So maybe it's coming to say, yeah, you're not allowed to have relations with Eishes ish, but you're allowed to have relations with your father's wife after your father died. So the Gemara, no, dumia de imoy, ma imoy de lav ishos, af aviv de lav ishos. The Isser over here is not about being married or married, it's about kirva. It's about being close, it has nothing to do with marriage. Imoy, what do you do with the word? Imoy, according to Rebbe Achois imoy, again, it comes to say you're not allowed to have relations with an aunt, who's the sister of your mother. Maybe like Rebbe Kiva, who darshan that the word imoy means his own mother. That's already included, not having relations with your father's wife. Maybe it's talking about a special Isser after the father dies. No, Imoy should be similar to father. Mother and father should be the same. We already established that it's not your real father. Why? Because it's already included in Zachar. So Mela, it's not your mother straight out. Rebbe Kiva, but now we go to Rebbe Kiva. Aviv, what does Aviv mean? It doesn't mean aunt. It means Eishes Aviv, your father's wife. Maybe it means the father himself. That's already included in the pasuk. So if you don't want to include things that are in the pasuk, you don't want to double the Isser, what about Eishes Aviv? The first word Aviv, you tell me means the father's wife. That's already included in the pasuk. That's already Eishes Ish. No, it's not. Why? Because Lachar Misa. Aviv, the Chiddush is, after the father dies, then you're still not allowed to marry his wife. Imai Mamish. Rabbi Kiva says the Imai means his own mother. As the Gemara, isn't that the same thing as your father's wife? Your mother and your father's wife are one. No. Imai Manusase. Sometimes you have a mother who's not your father's wife. They were never married. What's the source of the Machlokes? Sovar. Aviv do me the imoy, v'im do me the aviv. Lo mishkachas lo elo ba'achva. Since we already established that aviv cannot mean father mamish, so to make a father and a mother very similar, that they're talking about the same isser, so we're talking about the same isser. They're both aunts. One is from the father's side and one is from the mother's side. It makes sense. I prefer to say two different things. One is imoy mamish, but the other one means the father's wife. Why? I like the lashon of erva. We're talking about erva here. The Torah calls the sister of a father an aunt, like Rebbe Lezer says. That the Torah doesn't call it erva. The Torah calls it a she'er. Erva saviv lo yikri. Toshma. So now we have a kasha on Rebbe Lezer. Lezer says what? That an aunt is aser. Aunt is aser. Supposed to do this, let's do this. Turning to the daf. Tu b'shvat. Innovations will see an honor of Elchanan Pressman and officials. Schus v'akiv Simcha Ben Fego. A Shidduch for your review this Basi Avachaya, and thank you to Rebbe Stefansky. Adar Global, experts in international financial services. So, Ari Simon in Shir, I said that I said a vart on V'davak be'ishtoi in Rashi. So I said that you could apply that to Torah. When you learn Torah, you are davik in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more you enjoy Torah, the more you davik based on this Rashi. So he screamed out, he said it's the Eglei Tal. And I said that's what Reb Menachem Mendel Fenster screamed out when I told this to Mechavrus. He said, you mechaven to Eglei Tal. But then after Shir, he showed me the Eglei Tal inside. And the Eglei Tal actually brings this Rashi from Sanhedrin, Daf Nun Ches Amud Beis, Yishkoyach, Ari Simon. The reason why we're doing this now is because for the third time, something's going on, but I woke up late for the third time this week, and I have to do the sponsors now. By anonymous, the Zchut, Refuas Hatinoik, Yechiel Yididyo, Ben, Nechama, Shendel, and now we go weiter in the Gemara. Toshma. Kasher Rebbe Lezer. Vayigach Amram es Yecheved Dasoi. Amram took Yecheved, his aunt. Now, how are they related? Amram's uncle was Kahas. And father, and Kahas's sister was Yecheved. My love, the doesn't name. L'chayra, we're talking about the worst of the worst. That she's related because they share the same mother. Loi, the obvious. The doesn't that's not what happened. They share the same father, not the same mother. So we don't have a kasha in Rebbe Eliezer. Toshma, now we have a kasha in Rebbe Akiva. The pasuk that Avram tells Avimelech, Avimelech says, comes to that. Why do you tell me that Sarah is your sister? She is my sister. She's my sister from my father. Just she's not related through. She's a sister from my father, not from my mother. Mamash before in the pasuk. Achoisi basovi, achloi basimi. Michlal. The baso aim asura. So Kasha Rebbe Akiva, you see that if she was a sister from the mother's side, she'd be also. V'tizbera choisi havi. Well, time out. She wasn't even a sister. Basachav havi. She was a niece. V'kivin da'achiu l'shem mena'av l'shem mena'av. No.
Why?
Here. Right.
Hara was who?
Bro, here. Let me show you. I'll show you. Terach had two sons, Haran and Avram. But in these two, and Sarah was the daughter of Haran. So Meila, he's saying that I called her Achois because Bnei Banim are in Kubanim. She's my sister. But you should know, what was Avram trying to tell him? I'm giving you my family tree. This is how it is. You want to know how I'm related? I'm related like this. He wasn't saying that this is mutter, this is aser. It happens to be that she's related through my father. Toshma. Question. How come Adam Rishon didn't marry his daughter? So the Rishonim want to explain what's the Gemara's question. Since Chava sinned, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have killed her. But the problem is, if you killed her, what's Adam Rishon going to do? He'll marry his own daughter. So how come he didn't marry his own daughter and kept Chava alive? Today, she used to kindness a chaysai. In order that Cain should marry his sister, Shenema ki amarti oilom chesed yibana. Rashi explains here that the world started with chesed. Adam Rishon could have married her, but he wanted to be nice to Cain. He said, listen, he's not going to have who to marry. Here, you marry her. Ki amarti oilom chesed yibana. Halav hachi asira. It seems like, it's really another step over here. But you see from here that Cain shouldn't have been able to marry his own sister. And the only reason why he married her is that Adam did chesed with him. But halav hachi asira. Says the Gemara, kivin ishteri. It's interesting, I think if you pay attention, see over here that everybody in the world, and the whole world started with chesed, and everything that anybody does is really chesed to somebody else. It's a service that you provide to somebody else. One person writes books for other people that should have anah. One person has a seminary for other people. Everybody has a service. You're providing a service for somebody else. That's what chesed is. Some people drive a bus, they drive a taxi, they pave streets. We spoke about the guy that, right, you still have it in your pocket. That when you could do anything that you make a sidewalk, you're doing it l'shem shamayim, that somebody could, have an easier time with a stroller but whatever you're doing, you guys are, I see there's a whole line here of real estate agents. Mamish, all three of you. Greenman also is a real estate, right? Is he? You still? You're quiet though. Anyway, what?
He's the guy we all look up to.
He started it all. Yeah, literally. You guys are sitting behind him. Okay. Find what? Chaylul. Yeah. Everything is chesed. So you have to pick if you have a choice, you pick something that's more chesed. Zog the Gemara. Chaylul dish, the kivin dish to rishi, once other Marisha made it mutter, it's mutter for all Bnei Noach. Omer Avona Kusi, mutter bebitoi. A kusi is allowed to be with his own daughter. Somebody told me that by the Arabs, they have the same arayas as Jews. All the arayas are also besides one daughter. I looked it up, I couldn't find it. He says, no, I'm telling you, maybe Bisman has changed, I don't know. Same thing that we had before. So a question, how come Adam didn't marry his own daughter? Because she's a kind of and some say, Kusi also bebitoy. Kusi is also his daughter. Look, you see, Adam Rishon didn't marry his daughter. Husband had a time she's a kind of sachois. No, he could have, but he wanted to give her over to Kain. Eved mutar beimoy umutar bebitoy. That a slave, since he's nishtaher, if he was a kusi, if he was a guy, it'd be usher in his own mother and daughter. If he's a Jew, for sure. But because he's like he's a new category of chamor. He's a different type of behema, and that is mutar beimoy ubebitoy. Yatzim klal kusi uklal Yisrael lo yiba. Yosef Avdim Yomer Belazar Yomer Bechanino Ben Noach sheyichad shivcha laavdo yuba leha. Huh?
Before he became a man, before he became a man.
Which one? Eved mutar beimoy. Which one?
When was his daughter born? Before he became.
You're saying this Eved that was makabel on himself mitzvahs. Yeah.
When he became an Eved.
Yeah, before. After he became an Eved, it's already like Chayv Mitzvahs Kisha. Kazar Avdimi Omer Belazar Omer Bechanina. Ben Noach sheyichad shivcha la'avdoi uba. Ben Noach, a non-Jew, has a slave and he has a shivcha. And he said, okay, this shivcha should go to the slave. Now, a slave doesn't have ishus, doesn't have anything. Uba the master regretted it after he designated the shivcha to his Eved. So what issa was he over? When he's bought on his own shivcha, a guy. So we said yesterday he's not over an arayis because there is no arayis by a eved. There's no ishus. So mainly he's over on gezel. Nera goleo, he dies because he was gezel. The question is meimas. There's no kiddushin here. There's no nothing. There is no kiddushin even if they want it. But so when is it? Omer Rav Nachman midekaru la revisa de planya. When the world, the Olam says, oh, this is the girl of so-and-so, this is the daughter, so to speak, the Revisa, the Planya. Basically, the world knows that she belongs to this Eved. I said yesterday in Shir, and everybody was asking to me that here in Eretz Yisrael, there's a concept called Yadua Bat Tzibur. If like two celebrities, they never got married, they don't have a Rabbanut, but the Olam knows that they're together. So legally here in Eretz Yisrael, and everybody said, yeah, 100%. Legally for taxes, for inheritance, for all sorts of laws, they're considered a couple. Whether they got married or not, no shaykhs. You do about tzibur. There's such a chok.
Coming our way.
Yedua means known in the tzibur that they're together. Okay. So memela, so how do you get out of this? You do a tzibur. So you have now a couple celebrities. So how do you break up? How? Omer Avuna, Mishapara Roisha Bashuk. Meima Satarasa. When do they become mutter? When are they not together? Omer Avuna, Mishapara Roisha Bashuk. In those days, even non-Jews would cover their hair once they got married. So if they uncover their hair, they don't wear a tichel, whatever they were wearing, kafia, then it's known in the world that she's not married anymore, she's not with him. You don't need a get. There's no such thing as a get. Kiddushin. Omer Belazar Bechanina Ben Noach Shabal Ishtoi Shaloi Kedarka. If a Ben Noach, a non-Jew, had relations with his wife, Shloi Kedarka, unnatural way. Chayev is chayev what? Misa. Shenemar v'dovak. V'loi, Shloi Kedarka, like we explained before, has to be a way of hana and not a way of non-hana. Omar Rava. Says Rava, I don't understand. Miki midi Yisrael mechayev. Is it shaykh that this is something that a Yisrael is not chayev on? So from here, Taisus wants to prove that it's mutter for a Yid. V'kusi mechayev, and that a non-Jew is chayev misa on something that a Yisrael is mutter in? Elomar Rava ben Noach Shabal Eishes Chaver Shloi Kedarka Potter. Tremendous chiddush. He says, you're right. Mamish the opposite. I have a case that a Yisrael is 100% osir, but a guy is mutter. Not what you said, that it's mutter, that it's osir for a guy and mutter for a Yid. No, this is osir for a Yid. What happened? He's ba al Eishes Chaver, he's over Eishes Ish with Shloi Kedarka. Shloi Kedarka for a Yid is 100% osir, but Shloi Kedarka for a guy is mutter. My time, why? Because be'ishtoi v'lei be'eishes chaver. When it talks about eishes ish, v'davak v'loi shloi kedarka. That's not considered being over eishes ish by a guy when it's shloi kedarka.
Potter means potter mutter?
What?
Your potter mutter?
What do you mean? Where did it say potter? Yeah. No. There's no. Yeah, potter means mutter. Mutter. There's no chiyav misa. I don't think he has to be machmir. There's no chumrah by a guy. He's not chayiv misa, so it's meilus mutter. I think so. A guy that hits a Jew is chayiv misa. Shenema v'yifan koi v'koi by Moshe Rabbeinu v'yar keinish v'yachas el-mitzri, he killed him. This is unbelievable. Rabbi say, listen to this. Someone who smacks his friend in the jaw, in the face. Ki'ilu soiter lo yishal shchina. It says if you hit. I think they should make a bigger deal out of this in yeshivas because we never learned this. I kept on saying, I ask a lot of bachrim, what is it to hit your friend? Is it the rabbanon? Is it mutter? Is it a mitzvah? Is it the raisa? Do you get malchus? The answer is you get malchus for hitting somebody, and they never really taught it to us stark. When you hit another person, it's a chiyuv malchus. If there's asra, of course, edim asra. Over here it says that it's so severe, it's like hitting a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the face. Like Rav Yosef. I was once in the hospital out of friendship. I was in a yeshiva Tana and the guy hit me and I needed stitches. Listen to this. Threatening your friend. A guy once did this to me in shul. He threatened me. He raised his fist at me. Because I told him not to talk during Kaddish. He said, next time you say, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. He went like this. Over there, he didn't hit him. He wanted to hit him. How did we know? It doesn't say, why did you hit him in the past? Why will you do this in the future? He's a sinner, and a sinner is pasal le'edus, Rabbi Yisai. Shenemar v'imloi lokachti b'choska. Uksivati chadas anorim g'doyla ma'oid. It's a terrible thing. Rav Huna Amar tikot tzeli, you should chop off his hand. Shenemar uzroi romat tishover. Now, Rav Huna is not a person that just talks and is exaggerating. Says the Gemara, Rav Huna, katz yada. A person hit somebody, took his hand, chopped it off. You have to bury a guy like that. Kill him. Shenemar vish. And then the Americans will say, what? You treat violence with violence? Other people are going to learn. Yeah, if you're violent, in the cemetery you go. Shenemar v'izroya, a person who's a violent person, lo ya'aretz, he belongs in the ground. To do real estate, you have to be tough. Shenemar v'izroya lo ya'aretz. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful Tu B'Shvat, have a wonderful day.